It's the Sumo Show, the podcast that talks about everything that's going on in Japanese Grand Sumo. Whether you've been steeped in sumo lore since the Heisei era, like me, Dan, or you're a dedicated fan who wants to get deeper into what's happening on and off the dohyo, like our good friend Troy, or you're brand new to the world of sumo and just want to learn what it's all about, no matter how much you know about the sport, the Sumo Show has something for you. So let's throw some purifying salt into the ring, do a few big Shiko foot stomps, and see what's new on this week's episode of the Sumo Show. So, konnichiwa, everyone. Kaidi, welcome back to my co-host Troy.
Howdy.
Hello, Troy.
It's Sumo Show time.
It is. It is time for the Sumo Show.
Hatsu Basho preview.
Hatsu Basho preview. Hatsu Basho starts on Sunday.
You know
Sunday
what else?
Already, we got our first tournament of 2025.
You know, I'm here for it. It's also going to be the first Fantasy Oyakata of 2025.
It is, and I'll tell you what, entries are super low.
Okay, we need to pump them up.
So we have two entries, and one of them is mine, and the other one is not yours.
One is not mine for sure.
I don't know who. I looked at it. I don't know who that person is. So we've done it before. We have extended entry times in the past when we've had low turnout.
You know what always gives us a little boost is when we stop by the Reddit, and we'll do that. Make sure that our friends over at /r/sumo they enjoy a Fantasy Oyakata.
But I mean, you know, I don't want to call any names out because that would be like I'm throwing our good friends and fans under the bus. But you know, we have some regulars, and none of our regulars have. I don't know if it's because the last couple of episodes did not get Facebook really buried them.
Why Facebook? Why?
And then we were late announcing at least one of them.
Yeah, that was
so cool. You know, part of it's on us, part of it's on Facebook, part of it's on just life in general. But you know, we usually have 4 or 5 people we can count on joining in, and none of them have put in entries yet.
Well, you know, I think part of it might be, you know, here we are in the new year, and
it's also that
kind of shaking off the. I still haven't quite. I really did enjoy the family of it all, and the doing nothing but hanging out and having fun and figgy pudding and all that stuff. I don't even really know what figgy pudding is. But it feels Christmassy, and so maybe we'll just do the rounds, shake the trees and the bushes I think I'm gonna announce it. I'm gonna leave it open longer than usual. I'm not gonna close it at noon tomorrow. I don't know when, so when you're hearing about this, you should rush over and do it because it may still be open. That's right. And where's that link?
Yes.
So if you're listening on demand, which we know you do, we see the numbers, you can check the live chat. And
there you go.
It will have the link, which is a handy dandy Google form.
It is free to enter, and there are all you win is bragging rights.
That's true. Pride is the thing. But you know what they say?
They say in the name of love.
Yeah. What in the name of love?
One more.
Yes, one more.
One more in the name of love.
Into the breach. But yeah. So that's awesome, and just another reminder for friends who, because you hang out and you watch at least enough to know that you know you're there. Subscribe.
Here's the other thing. You know, if you ever want to get a Fantasy Oyakata game where you've got better odds than most of being better than everyone else, it's the one where no one else signs up.
That's true.
So you want to, you know.
I think that might be. My gut says it's a temporary moment, but a sound logic. I mean, surely you want to, But I will say that people who will be participating are pretty, even if it's just a couple, they're kind of the top of the heap. So,
Yeah,
your
but
mileage may
I
vary.
mean, the thing is, it's you never know. You just never know,
You really
right?
don't.
We've
Yeah.
seen in the past that one wrestler getting an injury or just
Takes
being off the
everybody
game
down.
really can ditch your well laid sumo plans.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And and that's what's exciting about the whole experience. You just don't know. It's it's anybody's game. Gotta
I mean,
pull out your
as you pointed out, I think one of the best things about participating in the Fantasy Oyakata game is not. Sorry, I got an itch on my back. Isn't even about
the promise of
the promise
yeah,
of winning. It you watch the entire tournament differently when you've got people that you're thinking of
it
as
really
your guys across the entire length of the Banzuke. Sorry, I'm doing this scratching with a ruler thing. Ah,
does.
if there was a big tree behind me, I'd go and get it.
Like a grizzly bear.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah, it just
I think you said that right.
I
That it
did indeed.
really
It changed my perspective, and it also gave me a really nice tether to context. I guess really. I mean that's what it did for me, and I liked it.
yeah. I think that it gives you a reason to pay attention to at least one or two matches that are lower down the Banzuke than you might
Yeah,
normally look at, and then that I think it. I think I don't know if you feel this way, but I think this is one of the things that really helped you kind of get to know more of the rikishi and have a feeling for them.
100%.
Yeah.
It was really the catalyst I mean, frankly, it was just it just kind of changed it for me, and it was less about me sort of seeing sumo as a curious sport that I was trying to wrap my mind around, and it gave me someone to root for and focus and the whole thing. Yeah. So there you
So
go.
yeah, Fantasy Oyakata game. Go sign up. You got some time, some undisclosed amount of time
You better
before I
hurry,
close it.
maybe.
I mean,
Awesome.
give. I mean, I say if it's just three of us on when the tournament starts, I'm going to leave it open for a few days and
Yeah, yeah.
let some other people in, or it might just be three of us.
I think we'll be able to pull in some of the regs who are like, they'll probably wake up at like 2 a.m, bolt out of bed and be like, Fantasy
I
Oyakata.
forgot the Fantasy Oyakata game. Oh my god!
Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, you don't want to do any of that. So why not now?
Now is your moment. Seize the moment.
It's your time.
Seize it.
So
You cannot hope to win. Make your time.
make your time. Yeah. What is that from? That's an old video game. Is that right?
That is from All Your Base Belong to
All
Us.
your base belong to us. That's a deep cut,
You
my friend.
cannot hope to escape. Make your time.
Make your time. Yeah, and and maybe if you win, you won't need to escape.
That's right. You will
Be
sit atop the fantasy sumo world.
Yeah, sit atop Pride Mountain and sipping on your winter's cocktails that you make
I
for
mean,
yourself.
look at how much it boosted your confidence, and
I will tell you that it just
because you used to be
really
one of those shy, retiring people who wouldn't even look anyone in the face.
I wouldn't. I mean, I was like a demurring geisha, just all white faced, red lipped. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yes, with your
Now look at me.
your painted harlot on the town.
I'm out on the town. I'm making some noise. I'm, making friends. I'm winning, and I'm, and you can be winning too. So don't miss out.
All right. So to that end, let's consider where things stand here on the eve of the Basho.
Okay.
Although I guess it's already Saturday morning in Japan. But so yeah, we've got lots going on. I'm gonna pull up the Banzuke again so we can look at it. Terunofuji is in. He says he's in. He's been practicing. I mean, uh, uh, he had a strong practice. He looked very good. He said that he's feeling mostly good. It's weird in that it seemed like his Oyakata was like, well, he says he's in, so I guess he's in. It really was a weird kind of not super enthusiastic endorsement of him being in this tournament.
Okay, because I'm getting that vibe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it was. I mean, it was very strange because he came in going, "Yeah, I know I'm feeling good. I'm, still not 100%, but whoa, when am I gonna be? And I just have to get my ring sense back." And in practice, he's been crushing the hell out of people.
yeah. Yeah.
So, that looking good. Let's say the thing that stuck out most in my mind is that the quotes, the translation of the quotes from the Oyakata are just kind of like, well, if he's in, he's in, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he says so. That is a
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Who knows, right? Again, with someone that good and that chronically injured, you kind of come into the tournament wondering who we're going to see. Right? Is he going to be around for 3 or 4 days and then have to pull out because, well, he wasn't really ready? Or is he going to be crushing everyone and very likely be one of the leaders throughout the whole thing?
right. Yeah.
Through the last year and a half, generally, when he stays in for a whole tournament, he's won like 60, 75% of the time. So if he's healthy enough to go 15 days, he wins most of the time.
And that a testament to his skill as a rikishi.
Yeah.
If I had even a modicum of what ails him, I would be home in bed. You know what I mean? So
I am right now.
you're in bed right this moment.
I am right now. I'm just laid up with the sumo flu.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's going with him. I got a pretty good feeling. I know I want to see him fight, but again, the number of bouts that he did in pre-tournament skirmishes and the way that he was just kind of beating everyone. He went and fought with Shodai this week. He very often will go because Shodai, he's apparently what he's been practicing the most, what Terunofuji has been focusing on the most, has been his Tachiai, has been his initial charge.
Oh, really?
Getting the speed and the power back, and going against Shodai is always someone that he has practiced with for that because Shodai's so big and he can have a very strong Tachiai. So I think I didn't write down all of the records. Everyone was going to different stables and fighting each other, and the news reports are reporting on who fought how many bouts and how many they won. And sometimes I will write all those down and report them here. This time, not so much. It's like, okay, a lot of people fought a lot of people, but I did know that Terunofuji, when he went and fought with Shodai, where they say the emphasis was on the Tachiai, I think they fought 10 fights, 10 bouts, and Terunofuji won them all. And
that's pretty solid.
About I think 6 of the 10, he got a good Tachiai and got his grip that he wanted. And Shodai said, "Yeah, I just couldn't. Once he got my belt, it was over. But even when he didn't get my belt, it was over." He's the Yokozuna.
Yeah, exactly. Very funny.
So that's good. But what is,
Any word on Hoshoryu and his performance?
Hoshoryu has been just kicking butt. Hoshoryu has
Okay.
been going around, and and he's been fighting a lot of fights and coming out with really big winning records.
Well, you love to hear it.
And he's about 5 kilos down from where he was last time. He said he's feeling this a little better at this weight. And I think he and Kotozakura fought a lot at a couple of cross Heya training sessions, and Hoshoryu won the majority of their fights.
Very nice. That's exciting.
So yeah. But as we talked about last time, both Hoshoryu and Kotozakura have been specifically called out as being up for a Yokozuna promotion if they do well enough this tournament.
Right. Okay. So all eyes. Right. Yeah.
And it's funny. A couple of all of the pundits to one degree or another are talking about that, and everyone is leaning on the Kotozakura as the main thing, and Hoshoryu could do it too. But someone recently kind of pointed out, saying, no one's talking about the fact that Hoshoryu could get it and Kotozakura could not. And
right.
Is anyone really ready for that? Because no one seems to expect that. Like Hoshoryu's the added bonus because he did so well last time. Again, because as we've talked about, he generally doesn't, right? He generally has been a 10 or 11 win guy.
He exudes a strength that doesn't necessarily come to fruition. It's.
I mean, I don't know. It's so weird to talk about, to find the right tone to talk about it, because he gets 10 or 11 or 12 wins, which is great. It's just not win the tournament great.
Right.
Except for last tournament where he came out and he found a new gear. Like he did there's his if he had won, that would have been his second tournament win. And the one time he won, he did that. And then he fell right back into his old rhythm. So the question is he going to do that again?
Right.
Which still will be great sumo, and he'll be challenging. Kotozakura will have a tough time with him, and he'll
work for
he'll stumble more frequently. He will have off days more frequently. Or is he has he gotten whatever it takes to make this the Hoshoryu who shows up every day?
Yeah. What I'm hoping for, truly, is that this is an era for him, and not just sort of the decline after a particularly interesting peak. Yeah.
So that's but that's the question, right? They were coming in this on Sunday once they start. We're all kind of on the edge of our seat, waiting to see which Hoshoryu is going to show up.
Right. Yep. And then you throw in Onosato. What the?
Right. Yes. Yeah. Onosato coming back from one of his worst tournaments ever, but even that was like 9 and 6. It wasn't a bad tournament by anyone's standards, but his.
But his measure, he's the benchmark that he didn't quite make.
Right. I guess the big news about Onosato is that his hair is finally long enough that he can make the full ginkgo leaf style top knot.
Nice.
So he's gonna have the full nice little spread on top. Top of the head, just like everyone else.
Well, you know how I worry.
Some people have bemoaned the fact that they were hoping that he could have made Yokozuna while he still had the the basic top knot, and that would have been one of those measuring points. Like he did it so
Very
quickly, he
interesting.
couldn't even grow his hair long enough to get a full top knot.
He ascended faster than his hair would grow.
Right, right. So that's
Funny.
not going to happen. But
That's interesting. It makes sense as a marker, but yeah, that cracks me up. The many ways, the many measures of rikishi. That one strikes me as the funniest.
yeah, and yeah, again, as we talked about last week, well, Kotozakura and Hoshoryu both have the chance to get a Yokozuna promotion. The person everyone is still talking about the most is in Yokozuna terms is Ono Sato. He's got everyone's imagination, even though he can't do it this time. It's not possible.
In the numbers. Yeah.
No, given what his numbers were last time, he's not getting a. Well, even that's not true. The Spiffy on the Dohyo show was talking about he did a whole show on the history of Yokozuna promotions.
Oh, interesting. That's
and how many wins you need and how it's varied over the eras. And there were certain times when they did what he refers to as the dip, where if you did great one tournament and then you won a tournament or and finished second, and then had a not so good tournament and then won another one, that they would accept that as as a package. You did the equivalent of winning 2 tournaments in a row. And in the 90s, when I started watching, when the first rise of foreign ozeki, who would eventually become Yokozuna, it's curious to me that that's the era when they tightened up the rulings to no, you really need to win 2 in a row. And
what's the implication? Is it that you think that there's a little bit of
well, I think I definitely
outsiderism
thought
going
at the
on?
time, and I've never given up the thought that a lot of that was trying to prevent the Hawaiian guys from grabbing, because at that point there were no Yokozuna, right? That was the 6 month or 8 month period when there was no Yokozuna, and Takanohana and Wakanohana were on their way up, but were lagging behind Konishiki and Akebono, and there had never been a non-Japanese Yokozuna, and so I think that there's a lot of talk about how Konishiki, if you take that dip effect, he really should have gotten a promotion back in the late 80s, very early 90s.
Because he was fighting against that outsider kind of vibe.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on who if the Sumo Association will say no, he just didn't do what he needed to do.
The moving target of
right. But
do you have the fighting spirit?
But they made it. That made it harder for the Japanese rikishi to get it too, and that's what kept Takanohana was lagged behind Akebono by was it again? I think it was 8 months, maybe a year, 8 or 10 months. But when Akebono was Yokozuna and Terunofuji was trying to get 2 wins in a row to join him, and Wakanohana and Musashi Maru both went years as Ozeki, and that they just couldn't get the wins to do it. Though they were performing great, they just couldn't. The health of Takanohana and Akebono was such that they weren't winning 2 in a row. That wasn't happening, and so it wasn't until they were closer to the age Kirishima is now. They were in their late 20s, approaching 30, when they got their promotions to Yokozuna.
Fascinating. And also a super testament to their skill.
Yeah.
That didn't get in their way. For too long,
Indeed.
I mean, they made it. So there's a lot of talk too. Where are we at on our list here?
We're still at the Ozeki right now.
Yeah, we're still talking Ozeki stuff. Yeah.
What were you about to say?
Oh, we can hold it. Yeah.
I think we said what we need to say. Like, all three of our Ozeki are tagged as these guys are going to be Yokozuna if they don't get hurt. And
yeah.
Kotosakura and Hoshoryu could do it this tournament. Everyone now is starting. The real buzz is, could we get two? Right?
Yeah.
Before the tournament starts, everyone's getting very excited about that possibility, because as soon as one of them if one of them has a week one, that possibility is going to go out the window right away. So everyone's very excited about that right now.
I'm pretty excited about that too, because it feels like we got some historic sumo going on for sure. But
if they both go through week one undefeated, actually, I think the buzz then is going to crank it up to 11. They're like, they could both do it.
That'd be awesome. I'd love that excitement. That would be, and it just feels like there's some historic stuff going on.
Right. And given the way, one of the things I did like, that was especially nice about last tournament, because we hadn't seen this so long, although it should be the norm, is that we had both of those Ozeki doing so well in week one, right? Going into the middle weekend with only one or no losses. And I think it would be awesome, because they don't fight each other until week two, right? They're all fighting the people lower down on the Banzuke. So you should have your Yokozuna should go into the middle weekend undefeated or at most one loss, and the Ozeki too probably should be doing that most of the time. So in an era where you do have very strong and strongly performing champion level, you should see all of them going into the middle weekend with at most one loss and dominating everyone. It's only in week two, when they begin to fight each other, that they begin to chip away at each other and decide what's going to happen. So I would love it. If I know we haven't even gotten to day one yet. Look at it. But if we get to the middle weekend and Terunofuji, all four of them, Terunofuji, Kotosakura, Hoshoryu, and Onosato, all are undefeated or have only one loss, that would be great.
That would be exciting. Very much so.
And then we have a big, race for the U show. It's a real race, right? Terunofuji wants his 11th tournament, and retire, maybe winning one more. And Kotosakura and Hoshoryu want to win. A win will get them a Yokozuna promotion for sure, either one of them. And finishing a strong second will get either one of them the Yokozuna promotion. So they're both going for it. And meanwhile, Onosato is, besides being young and aggressive and talented, he wants to show off. He wants to be the next guy. So, oh man, that would be so great if this tournament, if week one we just see all four of them dominating all of their opponents and coming into the middle weekend undefeated.
Yeah. That'd be some good sumo.
It would. Man, start of a tournament when all the sumo possibilities lay open before you.
That's right. Yep.
All right, so let's see. What was there? Someone in the Sekiwake Komusubi area that you wanted to talk about next, or
Let me take a look at the list here. We're not. Oh, maybe he's not even on this list. But I did not know unless we talked about it and I forgot. But that Rogue is having some
yes,
major
yes? No, we
setback.
haven't talked about that yet. Roga is not major, but certainly he is Kyujo. We have two Rikishi who are starting the tournament out. Um, and Roga has said he may come back in. He
Well,
may be well enough to join mid tournament.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we're still holding out some hope for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
but
envisioning
Hokuto
if he goes to
Fuji is the other
Kurio,
one. Hokuto Fuji also out, and he apparently
yeah,
he didn't fight um, in the exhibition tour uh, in the winter, the after Kyushu exhibition tour, and he's not well enough to fight now. And he is. I'm looking down here. Where are we looking? We find his name all the way down at Maegashira 14. So
yeah.
if he doesn't fight at all,
He
and
goes to
it's looking
Kurio.
like there aren't announcements that he may join in midway. Um, at Maegashira 14, he's dropping down into Jurio, and the way I think age has caught him.
Yeah,
Besides his hair falling out, I think his sumo is just uh, not what it was a year or 2 years ago.
yeah,
And I think that particularly with him being out, we may have seen the last of what we're going to see of Hokuto Fuji in
yeah.
the top division.
That he has performed at his personal best.
So yes, we don't know, but he's out. So don't pick him.
Yeah. Don't pick him, right?
Right. Roga is much higher up. He's Maegashira 8. So even if he doesn't fight at all, he won't fall out of the top division, but he'll be down at the bottom of the Banzuke here in March if he's out for the entire 15 days. Let's zoom back up here again. So our Sekiwake are Wakamoto Haru and Daisho, and the Komusubi are Abi and Wakatakage. And we were talking last week. This is one of those areas where they're all good, right? One of them, I predict, at least one of them is going to have a terrible tournament, and at least one of them is going to have a great tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is, I'll tell you now. I picked Wakataka Kage as my choice in this section, but
Yeah, he's my go-to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking good. He has put on about 5 kilos and is looking strong. And I think Chris Sumo in one of his videos this week was saying that Wakataka Kage is looking like he looked when he won the tournament 4 years ago. Just physically, he's seeming in that kind of shape and performing that well. So that, of course, was an era without a strong Yokozuna or strong Ozeki. It was our gear shift era for sure. Yeah. But he did win one, and he could do it again. And he's looking. If he is looking in the same shape, that certainly speaks well for him. We got Kirishima. Kirishima, boy, is he ready? Is he healed up? I don't know. He's apparently looked pretty good in practice, but that was true a couple of times when I think it was true last time. He looked really good in practice and then got into the tournament and was just a dud.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you I picked Kirishima. This is my roll in the dice. I picked him for my my choice in the upper Maegashira because I look at the rest of these guys, and it's not that I don't think any of them can do well, but I don't see any of them who are poised to do well. And Atami Fuji has burned me 3 tournaments in a row, so I'm not going with Atami Fuji, which probably bodes well for him. Maybe that's a good reason why you should pick him.
Right? Yeah. That is how the numbers would play out, right? Given luck and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know this is a bit off topic, but one of the things that helps me a great deal when I'm trying to wrap my mind around a particular sumo something is the community that's kind of built up around Nato. And I NHK went after his Discord and deleted. Yeah, he for copyright infringement.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't. Whoa, is his Discord gone?
Gonzo, gone.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that happened, and I didn't pick up on it then, but it happened about a month ago. But there's a sort of there, of course, two factions. One faction that's like, do not discuss Nato because he's the bad guy, and then 99% of the community going, oh man, that's how I learned about sumo, or how I found out what's going on, or it's it is really rough, and just like what is that Jean Valjean and chasing the one-armed man who was stealing bread for the waif. It's sort of this sort of dogged determination to crush fans.
Les Miserables, are you talking about?
Yes, exactly. It's I was like, what? All I can think of was that one the newer actress that was in Les Miserables, and she generally was just kind of weepy and cry the whole time.
Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway, yeah, I like her. But that being said, I think I would be the Anne Hathaway in this particular metaphor. But looking at just the
oh man, I'm
gutted.
I'm
with you,
terrible.
friend.
It's absolutely terrible.
I'm with you now. So Nato does say, "I will rise again," but
I will rise again.
Yeah, I mean, basically, just to say that the Discord server was deleted for copyright infringement. NHK were reporting Discord posts themselves that linked to Nato's video. That is, someone is on a mission of pure rage and hatred.
Yeah.
That they would report a thread from Discord as copyright violation, and the work they have to do to get to that point. I don't even know, how would you do that?
I don't know enough. I
automated.
I thought that Discord, I mean, particularly since he's not posting on Discord, what he's posting was links to other places. Like nothing was native on Discord.
Right, yeah, but they're saying that because the links that they would share to Nato stuff, and he was in violation of copyright, that then he should have. I mean, they would have had to have pulled out some pretty big guns. I've never heard of a thing happening like that on Discord. I just have. It's just outside of the realm of normalcy. But what's weird about this is all of it. But
it's terrible.
Yeah, it really is terrible. It really, really is. So folks who, if you're kind of wondering, what's going on, I would encourage you to head over to r/sumo on Reddit and just kind of see what folks are talking about. Because, it's pretty, it's just wild. How long do we continue to play this sort of, I was going to say cat and mouse, but it's more like, mouse and ball peen hammer or something. But yeah, I don't know. It's a really unfortunate state of
It
affairs.
is. I mean, the problem always has been, right. The reason that Nato exists as a thing, and why Jason's channel existed and thrived as a
Yep.
thing, is that NHK does not provide the means for people outside of Japan to follow sumo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just, in all of this, if they took the effort that they've taken in squashing him and this, and put it into making a high quality product that that provided that material.
Yeah. Yeah. They wouldn't even have to get it. Wouldn't we have to be that high quality? I mean, just that it took some time to curate or even address the informational needs of the Western community
Yeah.
is it's not, and it's not like, I mean, I could not imagine that Nato's bringing home the bacon on,
Doesn't seem that way.
no, it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. And what a lot of sacrifices he's making, kind of running from rogue media distribution venue to the other, and all in an effort to keep people informed about sumo. Like,
Yeah.
you talk about fighting spirit. Wow.
Wow.
It only took us one hit, which knocked out our whole prior sumo
Yeah.
empire, as it
Yeah.
were. But I mean, we weren't. That's the other thing that's just crazy about this, is that it's not like we were in context doing anything other than celebrating sumo and in using reference points that were often provided by, not provided, but we would seek them out from Nato.
Yeah, we were ripping him off.
We were ripping him off. We gave him love. But still, it's just, to me, it feels like they are spending more money in, action, attorney fees, all this stuff, and also burning through so much capital, as far as like, hi, we're the sumo, or no, we're NHK. Hi, Discord. Can we do, like, there's about a million things that they could have done differently that would grow the community and make people feel a little less, disenfranchised. But wow, I just can't help but feel like they don't care to such a degree that either they're blinded by rage, and there's just the one attorney that's just, like I said, chasing the one-armed man.
No,
And
I
then,
mean, I don't. You know what? There is a. If you try and put it yourself in their shoes, to some extent, they have a thing.
yeah,
They have
and
a thing that
yeah,
is being stolen. Their copyright is being infringed.
right.
It's no argument on that. But there's, yeah.
What they're doing was, so they're really, let me put on my community manager hat. The necessity, what people want is more information, and they will want to get it from reputable places operating in good faith and by a set of rules that they have any number of ways that they can handle this. But instead of seeking out ways to create a virtuous cycle of information exchange and edification and excitement, and as it happens, kind of connection to the world of sumo, what they're really doing is creating a sort of waves or generations of fans that will hate them, and that are furious about them, and because people really, well, there's one side of this where we're like, okay, hey, Nato is doing a thing, tisk tisk. But there's the other side of this, that he is really one of the best sources for what people want. They don't want to steal money from NHK. What they want is to learn more and to have the opportunity to be a
Right.
part of the whole experience. And I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of this is a frustration with a foundation of, sort of, I won't say anti-West sentiment, but you know what I mean, outsider sentiment.
No, yeah, no, I don't. The pro. I don't think that's true. I think that
I yeah,
the problem is that I think that it's a follow the rules. These are the rules. It's not about the. I don't think it's not about the outsider syndrome as much as it's blind to the outsider syndrome.
I
It
think, I mean, on this one point, and we don't often do this, but I'm going to agree to disagree on this, and here's why: the passion with which they tear things down is not met equally by the passion in which they want to share sumo with the world.
that's has that they're different things.
I don't think so. I think that they are very. It's very easy for them to dismiss the desires, the hopes, the dreams of the West because they might not care as much about the West as they do, the East. I mean, like it's to me, it feels like if not fueled, at least informed by that. Well, that doesn't matter anyway because they're not Japanese or they're not close to sumo. So it is easier then to send out a hit squad that's going through threads and Discord with the zeal and the fervor of a religious dispute. I mean, it's just very. It's just it's
Yeah, no, I I do not think that's accurate.
yeah. And I pretty strongly feel like that is a facet of this dialogue because if not, if it weren't, or if there was an element of care or more investment in the West's opinion about anything, there would be better. There would just be more, and again,
I think that's a false belief.
I I
I think that's a completely that's a completely false belief.
I don't I don't think it is, and I kind of
I think it should be. I think that's a very uh, um, looking at the world as as you would hope it would function logically.
what do you mean as far as like
I I just
what
I,
I'm saying is that sumo is a sport that is well loved outside of the confines of uh you know uh Japan, and they know this to be true, and they know that there are people who are very passionate about it. And my whole thing for me is, as a person who builds communities online around ideas and concepts, and that there is very little done in that department outside of what's his face's show.
hero.
And
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
Sumo Prime Time.
But it's very surface. It's
Yeah.
even to the degree that it's like camp almost. It feels to me like a a quick band-aid kind of solution of, well, we'll do this and hopefully that'll, you know.
Well, no, yeah, that's completely wrong. That is a very Japanese style show. That's the kind of thing that they do internally for their audience. That's what they now. If you're
I
talking,
understand.
but so you want them to understand us and produce stuff for us.
No, not necessarily. Well, no, no, actually, yeah, I do think that there is a
I
consideration,
think they
much like
should, but I get that they don't, they just don't think that way. They don't produce things for alternative audiences in the East either.
I would posit that there is probably a very strong undercurrent of we just don't do that for people who are alternative communities. Like it
Right.
is.
Oh yeah, no, that's 100. That's
So that feeds
all
into
over
my
Japanese culture.
absolutely it is. I mean, I really do feel like there is an element of this that is especially given just how vicious they are about it, like just wiping out entire channels and not really giving any kind of a opportunity to. I mean, like they're just brutal about it, and
Yeah. Well,
that brutality or that ability to care, to not care about the impact of what they're doing, because by all means, let's stop this.
Yeah,
You know,
but where I
the
disagree with that is
yeah,
that that's how they react to alternative communities within their geographic zone of influence. That is not about the outsiders, other than anyone who's different is an outsider.
sure. Oh yeah. I mean, maybe we disagree about the because we're saying the same thing, literally. Like there is an inability to provide for or to take into account the outsiders' desire to be a part of this community and to be seen as such, and to perhaps not have the nuclear bomb dropped on the.
Wow, is that a terrible metaphor?
Oh, it is terrible. I actually didn't even think about it. I'm
I
sorry. Let's say the you know the when a warning would do, they bring out a stick and whack you, soundly until all of your YouTubes fall out. I mean,
yeah,
it's just
I
it.
mean, yeah, I mean, I certainly, having been on the receiving end of that, I agree, but it's uh,
And now you're so. I think what's interesting about this is I'm trying to unpack it because I think that there's a cultural. You have I've never been to Japan. I have several friends who live in Japan. But that's not the same. Um, I see it from my vantage point uh, as an a aggressively bad thing to cut out. People who want to engage in the thing that you're making, right? Especially if you're creating, if your mission is to connect people with this sport, that's your job. You broadcast them, and that there be no room at all for the West or very little room and really very perfunctory kind of room, no real engaging. um to me that feels bad. Like that is a decision informed by cultural norms, and those sorts of things are basically poison. I mean, what's interesting is that even with all that sort of you know, gatekeeping. It feels like gatekeeping, like of the
yeah,
highest order. Um, that a sumo fan will walk through 1,000 dead YouTube pages and crawl across the weirdest, deep Russian websites for distribution media to watch, to get involved and be connected to sumo. That kind of energy, if spent rather, like instead of spent trying to find out where the next illicit pipeline
yeah,
of Sumo Show, and was spent more on on their appreciation and their
yeah.
yeah, it would be gangbusters for NHK.
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
I think we're in agreement. Honestly, I think that I'm not quite sure what the schism is, as far as like, do you think that am I mistaken in the motivation is to keep people away purposefully, or because that's how I see it. But if I mean, is it just that because culturally that's what they do, that it's not intentional somehow? Or
uh, I'm not sure what you just said.
okay, so you're yeah, but I'm happy that we're having this conversation, because I feel like it's a kind of a next phase for me to kind of understand what this is. So
There are two things. One, and I've worked at enough companies where this kind of internal logical schism happens to not find it at all unlikely. And one is the you stop people from making from stealing. Just gonna, despite the fact that I would argue
yeah, so would
about
I.
this a
I
lot,
get
but
you. Yeah.
from doing what they're not supposed to do with your material that you control.
Yeah.
You control this material. People are using it incorrectly. You stop them. You protect your material. That's one group. The
Right.
other group should be the group are like, well, there's an audience out there. We should serve them. We need to grow them. We need to spend resources to put this thing together, and we will reap benefits from that because they're out there, and the proof of it is how much that other department is having to work.
Right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But one of them is capitalist, one of them is fascist. Like
Wow.
I'm just saying, if you are saying you do not get to participate in this thing simply because you're in the West, and we will do nothing to connect you, or we do not value your contribution to this sport, we will not encourage your or create opportunities for you to step on and be a part of this in
Yeah,
a
no, I think
good
I think
way.
that's wow.
That's
I think that
problematic.
uh, I agree. I agree from a business perspective that it's problematic, but uh, yeah, yeah, no, no one. I don't think that there is a human right to sumo.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I am saying
But
that there's a flow of connection or disconnection, and they are very clearly and aggressively shutting things down, giving no bandwidth for our opportunity to understand and to be a fan in the West. Like that is just what they are pretty brutal about it.
yes,
One might even say dictatorial.
well, you clearly would.
Absolutely. I mean, it is quite an outsized reaction with no other sort of.
I clearly see that there's a difference between the people whose job it is to shut things down and the people whose job it is to build things up within their structure.
Yeah.
And and you then, and again, see this in companies all the time. If you are putting money into, if people are stealing things and you are spending money to protect, you categorize that as a loss and you want to stop that loss. If you want to build something up, you're not gaining anything. I don't agree with this
Who,
perspective, but
but who does that? I mean, yeah.
oh, you see that all the time.
Well, I guess one of the things that is interesting to me is, so we're talking about uh, seeing, because it is arguable in some of the shutdowns that there is a there should be an interrogation of, was there theft? Was it an intention
Well, but
to
then, and the
finish and
other
to
thing
steal?
to bear in mind is that there is a difference between the Sumo Association and NHK.
Yeah, that's,
It's
I'm thinking
not
of
in
NHK.
NHK's benefit to build up sumo in any way
That's actually
unless they can make
completely
some
wrong.
money at it.
As somebody that's I mean that's just straight up wrong. They're like the PBS of Japan. They send crews out to America all the time.
Yeah,
I actually spent an entire summer on a documentary with those
right.
folks. So there is an interest in what's
There,
going on in the West, and to build connection and to talk about community, and there is elements of that that are very strong with NHK. But this is just, to me, I don't think it's I don't, I've never said the Sumo Association. If I did, I meant to be talking about
no,
NHK,
no,
because I
but
think this is
but
all.
it's not NHK's mission. Well, it's it's not NHK's specific mission to make sumo a worldwide phenomenon.
I
Right?
don't know why.
They want to increase awareness of Japan and Japanese culture and foster connectivity. And you and I don't think there's any disagreement that sumo would be a great way to do that.
Yeah,
But it's not, doesn't, so is uh, uh, Japanese history and all the other things that NHK covers, the majority of things that NHK covers, that they do. And
I'll say
sumo,
I'll say this much. I am speculating on their motives, given just the clues and the context of things.
yeah,
Um, what it really boils down to for me is, so I can say many things about what I think their motives are, and I'm certainly not going to be 100% accurate. But what I do know is that the way that they're handling this is not just contrary to good business.
right.
It's not just contrary to being a good human. It's weird. It is not. I can't even in doing reading and sort of as much as I can try to translate the conversations that people are having that are Japanese about the situation. It seems very anomal. Like there's no good explanation, even in like
Well,
Japanese law, that says this is just how things go. Like it seems like something that is turned into, either it's developed into something personal or there is a motivation that is unclear to me, because nothing that anybody said has really made sense to explain what it is. Like that they just don't want people to steal. Like it's just not, that just doesn't quite give me the, like, oh, that makes sense.
yes. Well, there. I think our disagreement all falls into that assignation of intent and thought process.
Sure. And I can see that that would be, I can see why. But I do think that there is some malice, and it feels malicious, and it looks malicious, and it smells malicious, and I don't think that's very delicious. So that's just my take on it.
Right. Well, that's a very Western take on it.
Okay. And while I will question the sort of insular vibe that can can sometimes
Yes.
emanate out of
Well,
Japan, I will also say that I actively try to challenge my ignorance and to be somebody who doesn't think so myopically and just like, hey, I'm from the West, I get whatever I want, and that's just the
right.
way it is.
Right.
I try not to be that person. Oftentimes it's difficult because it's baked into the DNA of our everyday living. But at no point am I saying someone needs to, I mean, I'm saying that this is not a very virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think that the main thing is that they are repeatedly hurting themselves,
yeah,
and that, but in the process they're hurting other people worse.
yeah. And I think that that's really, for me, what is weird about this is that the action is just such a, the opposite of good. That it just, I can't, I just, the motivation for that, it has to come from somewhere other than the bottom line, because they have to be spending way more money on all of these, all the things you got to do when you're running a kind of, let's get everybody to be,
Yeah, but so much as will happen so often with companies, once you've already got the legal department,
yeah,
that
that's true. Very true.
the amount that it's not the same as having to mount a defense or strike out as an individual to defend
Now
a
that is
particular
very
attack.
interesting that you bring that up, because it's not something that I really thought a lot about, but this could truly be a situation where you've got people who are doing their job that are just so doggedly diligent about the, having worked with attorneys in
Yep.
the past in a
Yep.
corporate environment, they're just like, no, no, that's not going to
Yeah.
work. No, we
Yep.
can't do that. No, we cannot. And not oftentimes even really giving an explanation. So that, okay. All right. That adds a little facet of discussion. I still think it feels very, fascist, but it's just me.
All right. Well, let's wrap that part of this conversation up.
Yes, yes, an unexpected.
Woo,
The two
boy.
we don't often, get spicy, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So there's a tournament that starts on Sunday,
Yes,
and someone's going to win it.
but we won't know who because we can't watch it. No,
No,
I'm
we.
joking. I'm joking.
Well, you know what? I am. It's a, it's a. I'm reeling from this news that they shut down Nato's Discord,
I am too,
but
honestly.
it goes back to the ongoing problem, which you are talking about correctly, right? The
Yeah,
problem is that they are shutting these things down and not providing any service that comes close to allowing uh, the overseas fans. I lost track of sumo for 15 to 20 years because I couldn't find it. So you're not going to find anyone who's more pro finding a way around it than
yeah,
me.
truth. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Um, that having been said, uh, I I see that there's a difference between what they should want. You can't make them do what they should do.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm
It's just.
I
I mean,
was
and
reading
we've said this before. If they would, they should have just hired Nato. Right?
you're so funny. I was gonna say I'm reading a thread right now that says so I guess they also it says Natos Telegram, and I'm not sure if they're conflating, the Discord and Telegram thing, or maybe he had a Telegram that they shut down as well. But
Yeah.
it says
Well, he does have
any
a Telegram. That was one of the things that he'd been
uh,
posting on his site.
so they might have gotten that as well, because but what basically they said NHK, instead of playing whack-a-mole, offer this guy a contract.
Yeah.
I mean, they really ought to, or they really, or another tactic is make things more available to the wider community so that they
Right.
don't have to congeal
Or
around
I
one
mean, if
source.
they're not going to offer him a contract, then just plug someone else to do. Look what he's doing. Do that. If
Yeah.
you do it and it's got the NHK seal on it, and
Yes. Steal it. I mean,
yeah,
it would be money way better spent, time way
yeah,
better spent,
yep,
seeing what he was doing and what is so attractive about it to sumo fans, and
yep,
then mimicking the hell out of it.
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Um,
But again, that's where what I was talking about before. That's a different department that's not funded. To say that the thing about the legal department, as I was saying before, is they were already there, and their job is to do this kind of thing, and you're not going to take money away from your legal department. Are you going to create a fund to create the outreach? Well, then you've got everyone else who wants to the fine arts people who want more outreach program, and the puppet people who want more outreach program.
right, right,
And
right.
you know,
Yeah, I the other thing about this too, I think that really it just chaps
God,
me
we
a
were
bit.
gonna. We almost switched gears and we went right back to it.
I know we did. I know we did. But the I just feel like there is a significant misunderstanding a from the people who pirate and sort of very purposefully go at sumo with the intention to share media in its all its parts to
Yeah,
subvert or circumvent, say like the app, or whatever. Like they
yeah.
want they're doing it to be malicious
I
because
mean,
they
like, here's the thing: we shouldn't. We shouldn't be showing the app.
Yes, I know, right? But and that is the weird position that we're in, because here we are doing this thing that we think that we're kind of protected by. I mean, we always worried that that would happen, but I honestly, it kind of I mean, I know it shook us both, and you absolutely, because of the loss of all the other things associated with your prior YouTube channel, but that the whole thing is just. And I'll tell you, part of the reason why I get spicy about this too is that I was furious that that happened to you.
Yeah,
It was such a nasty. like the whole notion that every video got copyright strikes, and that you got your 3 strikes, in the
Yeah.
morning as they
Yeah.
continued to build up. That's not right.
Yeah.
And it just that feeling of having put so much, and also just having this sort of historical record of activities that we have done, the things that were part of, that are part of our lives, my learning of sumo, or going back and
Yeah.
seeing, old episodes and all that stuff, just destroyed. Like, it's just, and we're not pirating. It's so wild. And so I guess that's really where my frustration comes from, is that there is no good way. You kind of feel like you got to be secretive about your enthusiasm for sumo, because there's you know when are we crossing the line? I don't know. So yeah, anyway, that's where I'm coming from. It's and I really want to make it clear, I don't have a particular um loathing for a set of people, except for maybe attorneys. That this is, for me, this is personal because it's personal. You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
enjoy this. I enjoy the time we spend together talking about this stuff. I enjoy what I learn more about it. It sort of affirms the fact that no matter how old I am, I can actually get involved, learn new things. And this just such a it the approach and the whole problem is just such a blight on otherwise, fascinating, uh,
Yeah.
honorable, exciting, and community building opportunities. So yeah. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
Well, foo.
Foo, right? Well, people got a lot of a very special episode of the
A
Sumo
very
Show today.
special episode of the Sumo Show.
That's right.
All right. So you got a few days yet to put your Fantasy Oyakata submission in. Troy, you need to do it tomorrow or tonight.
Fair enough.
You don't get extra
You know,
days.
you know me.
You
Yeah,
need to do it.
I do it. Yep.
I know you. I know that I
Yeah, the remind
Sunday
me.
night. I've got to call you up.
That's right. That's right. I do have it up right now. I'm literally thinking about it.
Yes. So it's going to be an exciting tournament.
Yeah.
For all the reasons we talked about in the first half hour.
Well, yeah, and that's why we get so passionate. Hey, and also the second, half of the show, or was it half? I don't know.
We just spent a long time talking about that.
We sure did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we will be back on Tuesday. We're going to do 2 shows a week.
Yeah, get back
no
into
video. we're still reworking the show in the wake of that of the NHK takedown of the old channel.
Yeah.
So what we did last time was we just we made a commitment to watch the videos on a daily basis. We can come and talk about them. So, but I think we found that trying to do 6 days worth was it was a long time, and B, it was hard to keep in your head the flow of how things had gone. You were just focused on how things had been in the last day or two.
Yeah.
So we're gonna bump it back up to twice a week.
Right.
So on Tuesday, we will talk about what happened on days 1 to 3.
That's right.
Of the tournament, and then we'll be back. So it'll be Tuesday and Friday for the next 2 weeks.
You want to attend, because Stan and I also will be. There will be a segment of the show devoted to fighting about NHK.
Oh God, I hope not.
No, there won't be. I mean,
There
at the
might
end
be.
of the day,
There might be.
I will say this: at the end of the day, we're both fans in the very same way. I'm like a little Stan fan, And I know what I know about sumo because, of the process that we went through all of those, the
Yeah,
years now.
yeah.
And so I don't want anyone, especially you, Stan, to think that this is about like anything, any ideological anything outside of, it sucks is really what I'm saying.
Well, I think we can all agree on that.
There you go, everybody. We all learned a little bit about ourselves.
And the real treasure was the friends we made along the way.
That's right. That's right. And if you want to be our good friend listening now, having ridden this emotional roller
Yeah, if
coaster
you're
to
still with us now, you're our friend for sure.
that's absolutely right. Or you're NHK and you just hate listening, waiting for a
Yeah.
video to pop up. Hey, do me a favor,
Well,
click on that.
maybe it's an NHK lawyer listening to us trying to find a reason to take us down.
Yeah, or maybe they are planting these feelings of rage and hate because they want to destroy us from the inside.
Mm,
I'm kidding. Here's what I'm saying: subscribe. We also have a wonderful community of people over on Facebook, if you can
yeah.
imagine.
Oh god.
And yeah,
There's another cesspool of horror. Not
yeah.
our people.
No, no, no. That's the bright spots.
That's a shiny little calm
We
cove.
do. You've made it when you're getting the Japanese bots, all named. What were they all named? Uh, they all had kind of the same name.
Oh, they were all two the same first names. Like it was
Yeah,
Kiko and Tetsuro.
yeah.
Everyone was two first names.
Yeah, I don't know why they're coming and hanging out with us, but I think the algorithms sense the power that is emanating from the Sumo Show. All
Right.
you got to do is go to Facebook and put in the Sumo Show. You'll find us. Stan does great updates nearly daily.
During the tournaments,
Yeah,
yes, and I link off to the videos that I'm watching, or I include them. I've
yeah.
taken to I've taken to not including those uh in the body of of my post. That's in a comment.
That's not. Yeah, that's a pretty strong way to do it too. Yeah, so make sure that if you're
Um,
checking that stuff out, that put that.
However, you know what? I'm really pissed. Is that I had been using
Yeah,
Nato's graphics.
yeah.
His this is where things stand, which has nothing to do with they're not at all NHK ranked. It was his way of representing
And we loved
how
it. Yeah,
the day to day. This is what happened yesterday. This is what the leaderboard looks like now because
yeah.
his graphics are so damn good.
Oh, you can just at a glance get a view of everything. It's just
Yeah.
it's such a great. Yeah, he did a really good job with that.
So the I had been using those as my graphics for those posts. So that won't be happening now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it remains to be seen kind of where, I mean, who knows? Nato will at this point maybe start his own pirate YouTube, Nato Tube. And
Welcome to Nato Tube. He's gonna
he
create a
goes,
little island just off the shore. Just
that's right. That's right. In the Caymans.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would be given how much work he's done to continue to do this stuff. Like that is, I just wonder if they just have this like little digital meeting where they all get together and they're just these hardened criminals wanting to, share sumo with the world. All the hard work done on the graphics
Right.
and stuff. Like,
Those, I mean, and in their spare time, they're running a child slavery ring, and
sure,
these are the most hard bitten criminals in the
that's
world,
right.
but
Yeah,
they love sumo.
they just can't get enough, and they love it so much they want to spread it to the world in a way that's palatable and
God, that
understandable.
sounds like
And
a manga. That
it
for sure
does.
sounds like a manga.
It really does. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's I guess keep running, Nato, and we'll keep looking for wherever you're gonna be so we can have some good graphics.
Always keep your eye out for Nato.
That's right. That's right.
And given how hard, I mean, natto is a food, right? You know this.
I
Yes,
don't
no,
know. No, no, I don't.
yeah, no. Natto is a really really offensive food.
Oh, is it really? What is it made out of?
It is fermented, uh, fermented
Beans?
tofu. Yeah,
Okay.
soybeans.
And it's
Fermented
offensive because
soybeans.
it stinks then.
It stinks to high heaven. It
Gotcha.
smells like the inside of a gym locker, and it tastes like you would think the inside of a gym locker would taste.
Yeah, I've had a soup like that. I had one in Korea. I had a soup like that. I called a foot soup.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it is horrible, and it's a very popular breakfast food in Japan.
Yes. Okay. I think I've had this.
You ever seen you've seen the it's like the soybeans. It looks like they're in some kind of cheese, just a stringy mess.
I
Yeah,
have seen this.
that
Yes,
is natto.
very like a thick, almost gooey sort
Yeah.
of.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Consistency. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's
No, can't
natto.
do it. So that's funny. So natto that's not like just a any old nickname that he's picked a stinky. It's a commentary like on
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
ubiquitous. Very interesting. Yeah, of course. Of course, there's layers to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Staniel,
Well,
you
Troy, it's been
wiped out.
fun having this divisive conversation with you.
Well, I don't know how fun it was, but it was definitely another a moment of evolution in my sumo career. My career as a sumo pundit,
Yeah.
celebrated award-worthy work here on the third program.
Award worthy. There aren't awards, but if there was one, we'd be worthy of it.
If they had awards for the best drumming guy for a
Oh, yeah.
podcast, I'd be that
Hey,
guy.
so let's before you go, one more
Yeah.
reminder. There's a link in the chat to
Yes,
where to go for the forms for the
Fantasy Wrestle Deck.
Oyakata.
Yes,
Go
get in
do
there.
it. Do it now.
Do it now, and just don't be an NHK about it.
Wow.
Don't just ignore it and watch it with or on the vine. I'm kidding.
Right.
Okay. Hey, let me pull these drums out.
Do that quick.
Come on now, where's it?
Where are the drums?
There they are.
Oh, goodness. You have been listening to The Sumo Show, or something like it. It's a live podcast about the art and sport of sumo. Your hosts tonight have been Stan Brown and Troy Hewitt. Production by Troy Hewitt. Sumoliering by Stan Brown. And initial charge by Tachiai Troy. So until Tuesday night, we say to you, Ja mata ne!
Bye. Don't forget, do the Fantasy Oyakata. Bye.